Hi Year 5 and welcome to your first design technology lesson. Now obviously it's going to be slightly different because what we would do normally is you would make a final product, okay, but what we will do is you will do that when you come back to school, which is fingers crossed hopefully soon. Okay, but first of all what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of the theory behind it. So we're going to have a look at what textiles is and we're going to have a look at our key person that is linked to our textiles topic, okay? So let's make a start on let's talk textiles. Right, so what is a textile? The word textile originally means a woven fabric. Nowadays, it means any material that is made from fibres or yarns. So if you have to think now, can you think of anything that is made from any fibres? Okay, give you a hint, things like what you wear, what you carry things around in. Okay, so let's have a look at this. What is textile art? Lots of different areas of art can be defined as textile art. Textile art involves adding colour and pattern to a textile using techniques such as batik, print, applique, embroidery, dyeing, and more. Okay, now dyeing is the type where you dye something a different colour. Okay, where have you seen textiles in everyday life? So, clothes, fabrics, furniture, rugs, and cushions are some examples of textiles found in everyday life. There you go, tie-dye, you may have seen that on t-shirts. Pattern shirt and woven rugs. Okay. Embroidery. Embroidery is a way of decorating fabric using a needle and thread. Originally, this would all be done by hand, but now machines can be used, okay? So like, for example, your badge on your uniform, if you've got a jumper that's got a badge on, that will have been embroidered. So embroidery has many uses, including patching and mending clothing, and making clothing look more elaborate. So elaborate means interesting, okay, and intricate. Embroidery is a form of textile art and a part of many different cultures all over the world. It is used to create wall, table, and clothing decorations. There are many techniques used to show colour and texture in embroidery. We talked about texture in art last half term, okay, so it's how it feels. Okay, quilting. Quilting is a process that involves joining a minimum of 3 layers of fabric together by stitching. Quilts can be practical items used to keep warm, but historically, in some cultures, they were used to tell the story of people or a place. Families sometimes used quilts to recount their family history and would add to them with each generation. People would sometimes have quilting groups to prepare a quilt for a special event, such as a wedding. Each person would make squares to add to the quilt. The square might be a picture, a pattern, or have a saying on it. So quilt and symbolism. So remember what symbolism is, where we have a symbol that represents something. Each square on these quilts symbolised something that was important to the maker. Originally used to cover beds or maybe hung on a wall. These quilts are now on display in museums as important pieces of art. So batik is a technique where wax is used as a resist to a dye or paint. Wax acts as the line and makes a pattern on the fabric. Okay, it's an ancient tradition that has been practiced for centuries in Asia. Some of the finest cloth in the world is still made in Java, Indonesia. It started as an art form used to decorate clothing and wall hangings. Today, it is used all over the world for many different forms of art. Right, so how might a textile talk? Now, this one should look rather familiar, okay? Decorating textiles with pattern often gives them meaning as well as colour. The pattern can either be added as the fabric is being made, which is the case with weaving and knitting, or the pattern can be applied to the fabric once it has been made, such as printing and dyeing, okay? So what that means is when if you're sewing and you sew a pattern into something, okay, that's one way of doing it, like weaving and knitting. Or once say your t-shirt is made, for example, it's just a plain orange t-shirt, then you can print or dye it after it's been made. Okay, this is a very, very famous, okay, textile. This is called the Bay Tapestry. Okay, this is a lady wearing traditional Indian dress. Okay, so you can see that's quite an intricate design. Throughout history, textile art has been used to tell stories and document events. These stories might be found in the textiles themselves or as traditions and hidden meanings in the patterns and symbols used to decorate them. Okay, so this is talking about the Bayeux Tapestry. There we go. Bayeux Tapestry is a very famous type of embroidery. It tells the story of an event that took place in the 11th century. Do you know what that event was? So, this is the Bayeux Tapestry. Okay, it shows it was at the time of the Normans, okay, and it includes William the Conqueror, okay. So textile art using weaving stitches. The Bayeux Tapestry gives an account of the Norman invasion of England and the Battle of Hastings. The battle happened in 1066. So why do you think the story of the famous battle was told in this way? You need to pause the video and jot down some ideas. You can do on the back of your sheet that you've got. So why do you think the story of the famous battle was told in this way? Why not written down? Why has it been sewn, do you think? So at the time the tapestry was created, very few people could read. Books were rare, as each one had to be written by hand. A tapestry told the story in a way that everyone could understand. Why could everyone understand that, do you think? Good, because it's got pictures, okay? Lots of people back then couldn't read, so they find it difficult to remember the story. Right, how do you think the stitches were made? Once again, you need to jot your ideas down, that's fine. So the tapestry is embroidered using wool and linen. Okay, so there are different types of material, wool and linen. No one is exactly sure who made it. Most historians agree it was made in England in the 11th century. So do you think it looks like a comic strip? I do, because it's got all the different sequences and it's got different people. Almost like if you chopped it in pieces, it'd be different frames, wouldn't it? The events are set out one after the other on the Bayeux Tapestry, making it 70 metres long, which is as long as 7 double-decker buses. What does it remind you of? So this is part of a sequence of 6 textile artwork known as the Holy Grail. So do you think this textile tells a story? What do you think of when you see this textile? And when do you think it was made? Okay, let's find out. The Holy Grail tapestries tell the story of the quest for the Holy Grail by King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The Holy Grail was the cup from which Jesus and the disciples drank from at the Last Supper. The sequence of tapestries was worked over a period of 5 years, from 1891 to 1894. Wool, silk, bar and camel hair went on cotton wool to make the tapestries. Right, now this is a name you're going to become very familiar with, because this is the design, this is the person we are going to be looking at as part of our case study. Okay, so have a little look at this tapestry here. It's been made by Faith Ringgold, okay? And it's a quilt made by her. Does this textile tell a story? What do you think? Have a little look at what's happening in there. It's very intricate and very clear. What do you think is happening? Because to me, I think they might be dancing. What do you think of when you see this textile? Click on the image to hear a piece of music that inspired this textile, and can you make up a name for this piece of art? So let's have a little look and a little listen. Let's hope it works. Just while we're waiting for it to load, okay, have a think about a name that could go with this piece of art. Okay, because I've got quite a few going around in my head. Okay, but I want you to jot down on the back of your sheet of paper and see what you can think of, all right? And there we go, there's the music coming. So the name of this textile artwork is Grooving High and is a gesture from Faith Ringgold, the trumpeter and composer. Very different to the music we listen to currently, isn't it? can almost imagine these people dancing to it, can't you? It's almost as if the quilt moves. Okay, so just as the music feels like a refreshing and lively number, the artist's well-dressed women and men dance with equal energy and joy. Even though they are dancing together, they're also shown as distinct individuals, joyously lost in the music with high kicks, close embraces, and delight. So Ringgold was a feminist and anti-racist campaigner, and her quilts often symbolise real-life experiences using bold primary colours. So, modern textiles artists and artwork. Lucy Sparrow is an artist from Bath who sews soft, worky, tactile and colourful felt creations, including a fully stocked corner shop of felt food items. So all these are made out of felt. Okay, her work is about being able to touch and feel the textiles she produces and to bring people closer to her creations. So does this textile tell a story? What do you think of when you see this textile? I can see things I recognise like Walker's Crisps, Pringles, Doritos. Right, so let's sum this up. What we learned. Artists throughout time have told stories through textiles such as the Bay Tapestry. A great deal can be learnt about a story or event from a single image or a series of images, as in the Holy Grail. A range of techniques can be used in textiles. Some textiles might have a hidden meaning, or the patterns used might have their own meaning or be part of a tradition or culture. Okay, within your pack, you've got your knowledge organizer, okay, for this topic, this unit of work. So, if we were in class, we would be looking at having a go at some of these stitches. So, when you come back, we will definitely be having a go at that. Look here, your engineer studies Faith Ringgold, okay, it tells you some facts about her, okay, which will come in useful in the following lessons. You've also got your key vocabulary. Please make sure you have an attempt to try to learn the definitions of those key vocab, okay? Always important. Right, but for your first lesson, all I want you to do, okay, is make a mind map on everything you know about textiles at the moment, okay? There was lots to go through in that video, so if you can't remember things, please pause it, go back and have a little listen, because there was lots of information put on there, okay? And hopefully you end up with a nice full mind map. Please draw pictures to go with your mind map. It might be useful to colour code sections. So you might have one for the Bay Tapestry, you might have a separate one for Faith Ringgold, okay? Make it really, really engaging, okay? And next Friday, we will have a further look into Faith Ringgold. Okay, thanks, year 5.